Eli, do you think that we should invade Iran?
No.
Do you think that we should intervene militaristically in any way?
I think we should destroy the fulcrum. What was it? The nuclear facility that's Fordo nuclear facility that is built into a mountain.
Why?
Because if Iran is able to get a nuclear weapon, it would drastically change the geopolitics of the Middle East. I don't believe because they're radical Islamists in Iran whose regime was founded on anti-Americanism, frankly, and they chant death to America and death to Israel.
We know all that, but like, how would them having a nuclear weapon change it?
It would lead to other countries in the region wanting to get a nuclear weapon. So, for example, Mohammed bin Salman said that if Iran got a nuclear weapon, then they would want a nuclear weapon too. So, multiple Islamists. We'd have Shia extremists.
Now we got to bomb them too now.
Well, they didn't say they would if Iran didn't. So we need to prevent and make sure Iran doesn't, especially with their threats they make against Americans and how their proxies have killed Americans.
So are there any other Islamists and extremists that are making nuclear weapons?
At this point, I don't think so.
So I don't think you've justified why we should bomb Iran's nuclear facility.
Because they've made threats against us and our allies, and if they get a nuclear weapon, it would lead to more nuclear proliferation in the region, and it would allow Iran
I don't follow. That makes no sense.
So Saudi
you're
Arabia,
saying if Iran gets a nuke, all of a sudden a bunch of other countries are going to get nukes?
Yes.
But how does that follow?
Unless we stop them. So Mohammed bin Salman, if you want to pull up the article, he has...
No, I get that. I'm just asking, what is the connection? Like, are you saying that they'll simply just go, well, I guess we should too?
The balance of power will dramatically shift, yes. And they will all say, we need to have nuclear weapons too as a deterrence. So they would try to argue that we need to make it like an India-Pakistan situation, an Iran-Saudi Arabia situation where both sides have nuclear weapons.
Are there any other countries with nukes we should bomb?
We should prevent these rogue nations and nuclear proliferation from happening.
What's a rogue nation?
Rogue nations, North Korea is a rogue nation.
Why?
Why is North Korea a rogue nation? Because it's ruled by
a rogue nation?
A mad communist dictator.
What's a rogue nation?
Rogue nations are nations that don't play by any of international laws, recognized laws, and don't respect our laws.
So if they defy us, they're rogue.
Yes, if you defy our shipping lanes...
anybody outside of the liberal economic order, basically?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that we are the unipolar power on Earth, and unipolar power on Earth, and I think it's within our interest to continue maintaining that. And any step back we take would be a step forward that China takes. So if you want to shoot ships in any international waters that disrupt free trade, we are going to stop you.
What do you think, Jack? You agree?
Well, you left out the fact that a lot of there already are nuclear weapons in the Middle East.
Sure.
So and the U.S. has.
Who are you talking about specifically?
Pakistan.
Okay.
So AQCon Network developed the nuclear weapons, and Pakistan has basically said to the Saudis, and you mentioned Mohammed bin Salman, they've also discussed that if the kingdom were under attack, that Pakistan would essentially allow their nuclear arsenal to be used by the Saudis. So this, you mentioned nuclear escalation, and that's certainly a valid statement, but there are already nukes in the Middle East.
Let me ask, do you think that Iran should be able to acquire nuclear weapons?
I think that there are many policies and many options to be able to deal with that, as opposed to just simply blowing up people that you don't like.
So how should...
I'd say no.
That we shouldn't allow them to.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm trying to pin you down because you're beating around the bush like...
I feel like you haven't even thought about it. You're just saying...
Right. No, what you're doing is you're presenting... I'll explain why I'm doing that. Because you're presenting a false binary, and you're trying to play this Kafkaesque trap of saying, like, oh, well, if you don't support war on Iran, then you must support Iran getting the nukes. And people have been doing this to me, like, all week.
How should the United States react to...
I literally just gave an entire conversation about Steve Witkoff, and you, crapped on it.
And Steve Witkoff wasn't able to come to any conclusive negotiations that were approved by the president.
The people were killed.
Before the people were killed.
Before the meeting. Before the meeting.
This was the 6th round of meetings, respectfully, Jack, right? Like, the president didn't think this was going anywhere.
No, that's the president's prerogative. There's no question about that.
So you think we should just continue to go the negotiation routes. But again, if they don't bear fruit as they haven't, how should the United States respond to their nuclear ambitions?
You say that as if it's already happened. And again, how are they going to bear fruit now when the people are dead?
I guess we reached the point in the negotiations where they didn't bear fruit.
Who's
but
we?
I get the
Are you a
United
member of the
States.
administration now?
No, I'm talking about us, the royal we, right?
Right. There's a lot of royal we's going around.
So no, as an American, right, worried about the American agenda, like I'm trying to get a concrete answer here. So the negotiations don't work out. How should the United States respond to that?
Again, so you're playing this game of trying to create a false binary, saying this is the only way.
I'm asking you what else we should do.
What else? Okay, cool. Appreciate you doing that, because a lot of people are doing that to me this week, and with who share your views, and it's very annoying. So what I've said for a long time now is the best way to do this is stop looking at it in 2 dimensions, saying, oh, it's just Israel, the United States, and Iran. These are the only 3 players there. World's a complicated place. Doesn't work that way. And in fact, there's another huge player in all of this that it feels like the neocons have just forgotten about, and that's Russia. So Witkoff, again, this is why I bring up Witkoff again and again. He plays the key role in the negotiations between the U.S. and Iran, but also the U.S. and Russia. And Russia has offered multiple times to come in and be the guarantor of the Iranian nuclear material. So they played a similar role, by the way, in the Syrian chemical weapons under Assad. I guess it was 2013 when that took place, and China played a small role as well as in destroying them, but after the fact. And so this idea of Russia coming in and saying, wait a minute, why wouldn't that be a good idea? Because while the U.S. has issues with Iran having a nuclear weapon, certainly, Israel, it's an existential question. And for Russia, they don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons either, because that's right in their backyard. And they don't want this huge escalatory ladder going on in their backyard the same way that I think that most people in the Middle East probably wouldn't. And so it's a much bigger threat to Russia than it is to us. And so why not have multiple negotiations, have Iran put pressure on them because they know they have to, and then use as a potential dangle for that the peace and ceasefire in Ukraine.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.